And so I hear you have a speech tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you prepared?
Kind of. I just had to finish my cue cards. Maybe.
Kind of. To a certain extent.
Well, I was taught today, so
Oh, really?
I'm still writing mine, yeah.
Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
Welcome to the first annual Wendu Public Speaking Cup. My name is Caitlin. I am a teacher here at Wendu, and I will also be your MC for the day, and a judge. Thank you all for coming out. Here at Wendu, we believe that all students should have access to a quality education that can effectively aid them in their future endeavors. For years, we have worked with students and adult learners in helping to cultivate their strengths and building a real passion for learning. This year, we decided to create our first ever public speaking cup in order to give the children a platform on which to display their hard work throughout the course of the semester. Next year, we will be participating in an international public speaking tournament, which is very exciting. The students presenting today have all worked incredibly hard. They came into this public speaking class with little to no prior public speaking experience, and yet have all improved so immensely in these months. Their enthusiasm and personalities were what really made the difference in the interesting and unique speeches. All of us here at Wendu are very proud of their efforts and of how far they have come. Please give a round of applause for these outstanding kids. I would now like to take a few minutes to introduce our judges. So, Greg Felton. Hi, Greg. Greg Felton has a master's degree in political science from UBC and has written 2 political science books. Greg worked as a reporter from 1993 to 2000 and is now in his 15th year of teaching English. He is an experienced public speaker and is frequently invited as a guest to publicized political discussions. Thank you for being here, Greg. Sohail Hilari. Sohail graduated from UBC with a bachelor's degree in health science and sat as executive chairman of the UBC Alma Mater Society as well as head of treasury for the UBC ASA. Sohail began as a private tutor over 6 years ago and has a great deal of public speaking experience. Thanks for being here today, Sohail. And we had a last minute change for judges, so I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Caitlin O'Brien, and I started here at Wendu just a few months ago in September, and I'm really happy to be a part of this team. I went to 2 universities, so I started at Simon Fraser University in the communications program, and I graduated from Royal Roads University on the island with a Bachelor of Arts in Professional Communications. Public speaking was a big part of my program, and it's kept being a big part of my life ever since. I really enjoy it, and working with the children and well, you guys are pretty much adults now in high school. Working with all you guys has been a complete pleasure, and I hope to continue doing it in the future. So thank you, judges. Can I please get one more round of applause for them volunteering their day to come out here and help us? So just a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to tell you guys about the schedule The first part of Wendu's Public Speaking Cup will run until 12:20. We will hear from 12 presenters, then take a short intermission for coffee and snacks. So just in that room over there, right across the hallway. In the afternoon, we will hear again from our 12 speakers, and afterwards, judges will take time to deliberate and decide who our 3 winners are. At 2:30, we will hold a draw for several great prizes, so please hold on to those tickets. Finally, we'll move on to our Christmas party. Everyone is welcome to join us for socializing and celebration. Okay, so we are now ready to hear from our first speaker. This round will focus on the theme, Did You Know? Each student has prepared an informative speech about a topic that they feel passionate about. Please welcome our initial round of speakers, the first level students. Okay, lucky number 1, Sharon. Thank you, Sharon.
Good morning. My name is Sharon, and today I'm going to talk to you about the history and timeline of painting. Painting started 17,000 years ago, when early humans first evolved. They have been found in Europe, Southeast Asia, Africa, and Australia. Bulls, bison, stags, horses, and other animals were painted on the walls of caves. They only knew how to draw simple drawings with not much detail and used mostly earth pigments. Reds and browns from bull or haymite, yellows and oranges from ochre, white from zinc oxide, blue from iron and silicic acid, black from charcoal or soot. It lasted around when Greece painting started. Greek painting started around 1000 BC. It is also called classical art. Some subjects of ancient Greek paintings are snake-haired medicines, centaurs, Olympic athletes, and gods. They also used pigments, but mixed with hot wax to paint. Sometimes they also used paint from precious stones, earth, and plants. Greek painting ended around when Renaissance painting was born. Renaissance painting started about 1400 AD, about 600 years from today. Most of you guys know this period, like Leonardo da Vinci and his Mona Lisa, right? But you guys might not know about the paints they used. Anyways, Renaissance painting isn't the only style of art at that time. It includes sculpture and decorative arts of European history. But let's focus on painting. The paint at that time began to develop and get better. Frescoes, a technique of mural painting, the kind of pigments they used, were mixed with water. However, some Renaissance artists did paint on wood. Renaissance painting ended before Chinese painting started. Chinese painting is one of the oldest artistic traditions in the world. Chinese painting is still painted today in the modern world. The traditional style is known today as Luohua. It means national or native painting. It is opposed to Western styles of art and became popular in China in the 20th century. It is done on rice paper or thin silk, using a variety of brushes and Chinese ink or slash and dye. They usually paint portraits, landscape, flowers, birds, and insects. Look at the timeline. It had a long, interesting tale. It is also important to learn about our ancestors, like how they painted, and you should learn more about it. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Andy and today I'll be talking about McDonald's. McDonald's is a popular fast food restaurant founded by Maurice and Richard McDonald's. A popular meal you can buy at McDonald's currently is chicken nuggets. They have 32 ingredients and are made with chicken bone, chicken fat, chicken meat, and chicken. They make chicken nuggets by blending all 3 ingredients and then putting it through a machine that cuts them into nuggets. Then they put all the other ingredients like bread, salt, and pepper. Then they cook it all and then they sell it and they make money. Chicken nuggets are really unhealthy, but they taste good because they have lots of preservatives and artificials. They taste really good, but they're very unhealthy. Thank you for your time.
My name is Aiden, and today I'll be talking about chess. Chess is an 8x8 board that requires strategy. It's played with 2 players, and they each take turns moving. After they move, they must press the clock. The clock has an amount of time that you have to play. It times how long it takes for you to move. Chess was originated in India before the 6th century. That's very long ago. There are many time controls to chess. Most of them are very long, but some of them are very short. The short ones are very intense, and the long ones requires a lot of thinking. If your time control is less than 2 minutes, it's called a bullet game. If it's from 2 to 10 minutes, it's called a blitz game. And it's from 10 and more, it would be called a rapid game. Chess is an excellent sport because it requires patience, creativity, and it helps you solve skills. To win chess, you must trap the king and then use another piece to attack it. You could also win by time if your opponent doesn't have any more time. You could also win if your opponent surrenders or resigns. There are many pieces that could move in different ways. One of the pieces, and the most important, is the king. The king can move 1 square vertically, horizontally, and diagonally. The queen could do the exact same thing, but it could move more than 1 square. The bishop could move diagonally, and the knight is a really special piece. It could jump over pieces, and they move in an L shape. They move 2 squares forward, and then they move 1 square to the left or to the right. And the rook moves to the left and horizontally and vertically, and you cannot jump over pieces. And finally, the pawn. The pawn can move 1 square or 2 in their first move, but after their first move, they could only move 1 square. They could also eat pieces by eating sideways. The IQ average of a grandmaster is around 160 to 180. That's almost an IQ of a genius. That's very high. So how do they get that high of an IQ? They get a very high IQ because they have to think a lot of moves ahead, and they have to have a lot of thinking going on in their brain. And this year, there was a tournament in London. It was the Chess Championship 2018. And the youngest player chess right now is called Magnus Carlsen. And Fabiano was trying to defeat him. So they're playing a chess game that was 120 minutes, which is a rapid game. They were playing 12 games, and then they got all draws. That's very fascinating. Even though Magnus Carlsen had a chance to win in their 11th game. And I started off with my chess when my sister was playing, and then I got interested, so I started moving pieces for him. And then my sister thought that I was really good, so I went to my chess club, and then I got better. And now I can teach my friends, and I still continue playing chess. That's why chess is a healthy sport that anybody could try. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so I have a question to ask everyone. Who here uses things like Google, Bing, Cortana, Siri, spam filters, Google Maps, and YouTube? Right? These things are very convenient in daily life, but are these things 100% positive? Hi, my name is Emma, and today I will be talking about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is when a machine takes over human roles in society. It is already a big part of society and in daily life, and it also plays a big part in things like marketing, cancer diagnosis, and surveillance. Artificial intelligence, or AI, can save lives and enhance our daily lives by doing tedious chores for us, but some manual jobs like accounting and housekeeping, or even jobs like doctors, lawyers, and high-level jobs are being replaced, or are going to be replaced. So, is artificial intelligence an upgrade in our lives, or is it going to destroy society? AI can be looked at from two different angles. It was created because people thought it would improve our daily lives and make it easier. It is very precise and can be used for disease diagnosis. AI can detect the minute and abnormal changes in the human body that a human cannot. Another reason why AI was brought into society is because it can calculate, chart, and gather information faster than humans can. Wouldn't this be convenient? In fact, you use artificial intelligence every day. Google, Safari, Bing, Siri, Cortana, etc. AI also has a role in eliminating poverty. Machines are not required to be paid to educate people, which help those in poverty to jump out of the cycle. It is an undeniable fact that AI has made many things humans do easier and more efficient, and we humans cannot live a life with high quality without it. But at the same time, AI can make our world collapse. As technology continues to advance, films like The Terminator will become reality. AI was made to have their own thoughts so they can think and act like humans or become even better than humans. The rapidly increasing growth of AI grows along with the worries of humankind. Right now, jobs people depend on are being replaced by more efficient robots. AI is able to complete tasks without ever getting tired or hungry and do not risk anything while doing dangerous jobs. You might think this is an upgrade, but remember, who are these machines replacing? Humans, people that need the money to live. True, it would make sense for someone to get machines that never tire and do not require safety to work for them over humans that need to sleep, eat, and stay safe. By 2030, it is estimated that AI could take over 30% of the world's labor job, displacing more than 800 million people. Of course, AI makes many jobs easier, but where would those workers go? Today, AI are made with their own thinking system. It is very possible that AI could turn on their creators. Many cases like these have happened before, and thankfully the machines were destroyed immediately. But they are intelligent. We cannot even tell by body language if they lie or not, forcing us to stand on a beam. There's only forward and backwards, no right or left. AI could very possibly destroy society. But then again, are we not doing fine right now? People can still do labor, we can still walk, we can still think. We are finding ways to detect cancer at early stages, and we are still working. People must think again to why AI was even created. It was not so that we could rely on them completely, or that we could neglect ourselves from it after we created it. AI was created so people can live lives that have high quality, so people can get educated, so people can get homes, and so people are informed. There's no need to destroy AI, just don't take it farther than we are now. AI are tools, not humans, so we need to use them to help us and just help us on the things that we cannot do. Really, AI is something that is neutral, zero. It has its benefits, like how cancer can be detected and poverty can be reduced, but the possible large displacement amount of human labor and possible overthrowing of us humans cancels it out. AI, like everything else, is a double-edged sword. So, after I told you a bit about AI and its negative and positive impacts on society, do you think AI will help us or destroy us? Thank you.
Hello, my name's Alex. Today I would like to share how I found this book called Kinder Knallstar in the Box of Whispers and how I like it. The first time I found this book was when I was in the library and searched for this book called Kinder Knallstar and the Box of Whispers. I liked this book because it was really fascinating, fun, and last but not least, it was written by my teacher, Lee Edward Foodie. This book is about a girl named Kendra who goes on adventures outside a barrier called a magic curtain that protects Eanes from monsters from the outside world. My favorite character in the series is Kendra's uncle because he's in the Council of Elders, which I'll go through that later. My favorite book in this series is Kinder Knallstar and the Search for Erazine. That one was my favorite because that's when Kendra's family finally reunited. For she was living with her uncle because her family was missing. My favorite part of that book was the ending part because that's when her family officially reunites. There are 5 monster tribes altogether. I will only go through 2 of them since there's 5 monster tribes, so it would be too long. And all those monsters were made up by Mr. Wiz, Lee Edward Foodie. The other Kindred books are interesting too, but I'll only go over the titles of the book because they would be way too long. I already went through the first book, so I won't be going over that. The second book's title was Kinder Knallstar and the Door to Unger. The third one was Kinder Knallstar and the Shard from Grieve. The fourth one was Kinder Knallstar and the Kraken Kazai. And the fifth one was Kinder Knallstar and the Search for Erazine. The Eanes have a council of elders that make important decisions. And as I've said before, Kendra's uncle is in that council. The counselor is a woman named Winter Whitsong. That is, she's the oldest of the elders, so she's the counselor. So I hope you will read these books. They're more interesting than you think. Unfortunately for the people who enjoys these books, Mr. Wiz is not making a 6th book. Again, I hope you will read these books. They are more interesting than you think.
Good morning, parents, classmates, and judges. Today I am going to be talking about generational poverty, and my name is William.
Generational poverty. What is it? Why is it a problem? And most importantly, can it be solved? For all who don't know just what generational poverty is, this is how it works. Imagine a man is in financial difficulty. His daughter doesn't get any help with homework because his parents are working all day. That daughter doesn't get into college because of her bad education, and that results in getting a bad job. She has the same financial difficulty as her dad because of this, and that isn't good for her new child. See what I mean? Generational poverty works like this, and it works well. Imagine the impact on people that are affected by generational poverty. More than 3 billion people, nearly half of the population on Earth, live on less than $2 a day, which means they are living in poverty. That's a lot of people. There will be people hungry and getting sick. They'll have no home. Rainy days will be cold. No money, so they'll beg and lose hope slowly. They'll die early because of starvation, sickness, or being depressed, so they would even suicide. Even if they don't die, it would be too late to get an education because they don't have any money and they're too old for that. This is a big problem because it's making poor families and it's spreading like a financial problem disease. It also won't just stop immediately because it keeps on spreading and no one's doing a solution widespread enough to stop it once and for all. People aren't putting in enough effort and money to actually start bringing the numbers down drastically. Everything I've told you today was something bad about generational poverty. Now let's go to the good side. Can it be stopped? There are many ways to reduce generational poverty, but not necessarily stop it. However, it could stop if it's reduced enough. Some ways to reduce generational poverty are feeding hungry people by donating food to the food bank and donating money to charities to get children better educations and possibly going to college and university, resulting in better jobs than they would have if he hadn't donated that small amount of money. That will be good for the families in poverty and might stop the cycle of them. Generational poverty can be solved. Just make sure you remember each one of your actions to stop it counts. So today I ask you, will you donate just a little bit of your money to make a child's life better?
Yes.
There are over 30,000 child soldiers around the globe known to the world, from the ages 6 to 17 years old. They are children who should be enjoying their life at this period of their time, but instead they get ripped apart from their families and forced onto battlefields, fighting on the front lines, being human bombs and human shields. Their cries and blood cover the battlefields, but there's no one there to listen to their cries. Hello, my name is Kitty, and today I'm here to talk to you all about child soldiers and how to stop this act. Every year, thousands and thousands of kids get ripped apart from their families, whether they like it or not. They get taken into armies and put into front lines. Frontline is just a better name for human shields. They block out all the bullets, so the skillful soldiers won't die so fast. Even if they somehow survive the front lines, they're going to be back again and again until they finally die. If they survive until the end, still their minds and hearts have already been hugely impacted with what they have been through. With these memories, they're never gonna be happy again for the rest of their life. They're also used as suicide bombs, where bombs are tied to their bodies and they are forced to enter the enemy's base, where the bomb will be set off, the enemies die, and so do they. An interview has been done with one of the Colombian kids who serve in one of the biggest armed forces in Colombia. The kid defines the days in the armed forces as living nightmares. In the last 15 years, the use of child soldiers have spread to almost every region of the world and almost every armed conflict. Though an exact number is impossible to define, thousands of child soldiers are illegally serving in armed forces around the world. Girls make up 10 to 30% of child soldiers used for fighting and other purposes. They are especially common when it comes to sexual violence. The world is taking steps to stop the use of child soldiers, but we're not doing this fast enough, said the Human Rights Headquarters. Please help these kids get a better life. You can help them through donating to charity or as simple as letting more people know about them, know how bad of a life they're living right now. When the world is silent, the smallest voices can make the hugest impact. Help these kids stand up because they can't for themselves. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Nick, and today I want to talk about how does homework affect students. Students who have a lot of homework each day and they cannot able to do anything else, So, because that affects students, hate school, feel tired, stressed. Students feel tired, headache, and
Hold the mic down.
well, in grade 4, about 61% students are very resistant and only a little bit cooperative. A 10-hour actually spend weekly time on homework. For example, let students have too much education is not a good choice. Students need to relax and take a break. Parents need to help with students who have a lot of homework to stay supportive and help students' homework. When students don't know how to do their homework and their parents won't help them, they will be feel stressed. So my conclusion is that homework is important, but too much homework can have a negative effect on students. Thank you for listening.
Do you remember when you were a student, or maybe you're still a student, how you had to wake up at seemingly the crack of dawn just to get to school, when the only thing on your mind once you arrived was the warm comfort underneath your bed sheets at home? Students complain all the time about waking up early for school without ever considering the fact that there are very valid reasons supporting both the benefits and faults of waking up early in the morning. Studies have shown that teen brains naturally awaken around 8 a.m., showing it's more a matter of human biology than suspected laziness when we are not able to wake up in the morning. In the time that I have with you, I will be talking about the history of schooling, the biology of the human brain, and research that support waking up early and ones that go against it. We didn't always have school. During the Industrial Revolution, children were put to work and perform hard laborious tasks and do hard laborious tasks. As our economy grew, the demand for child labor decreased and schools were introduced. More emphasis was put on education. Starting from the early 1690s to the early 1900s, students were able to attend schools, but not everyone had access to education, and therefore class sizes were small. Kids of all age categories were put in a single classroom, and there would only be one singular start time, usually because there would only be one school. As time progressed, more children were able to attend schools because more emphasis was put on education opposed to hard labor. In order to maintain order, different staggered start times for schools were introduced, and different types of schools separated by age categories were also introduced. This is what our school system looks like today. To sleep, a special sleep hormone called melatonin is produced in the brain from around 10:45 p.m. until 8 a.m. From this data, scientists have urged schools to introduce a later start time to accommodate the optimal peak of brain functionality within teens. This means that if you had a test in the morning, then it would be near impossible to put 100% of your effort into it. If students sleep at 10:45 p.m., then in order to get the 9 hours of recommended sleep, they would be waking up at 7:45. And it takes an average of around 54 minutes for students to get ready for school. If we do a bit of simple math, it doesn't add up how students can get to school on time at 8 o'clock while still getting the 9 hours of sleep that they should be getting in their growing years. In order to arrive early, students will either have to cut back on their sleeping time, which leads to inevitable sleep deprivation, which can lead to some serious side effects, like increased susceptibility to illnesses and addiction to drugs. Now, you might be thinking, why don't they just sleep earlier? There are other factors that should be considered, like after-school activities. which cuts back on their time to do homework and study for school. Oxford University conducted a study showing that the optimal teen brain functional ability was around 9 to 10 a.m., which means if students have tests around that time or earlier, they wouldn't do well opposed to later in the day. What if this was your final? Your future should not be determined by a test score that you couldn't put 100% of your effort into. Now, after all this, there are also benefits to early starts. Early start to a school equals early end time, meaning you can invest more time into after-school activities and fun. There are also the matter of transportation costs. Studies have been conducted showing that economies can save up to $1 million by having school start early, because students could take a single bus that goes a single route to their school. Fewer buses would be needed, and they wouldn't need to stop at every other station. This also means that students wouldn't have to wait in long lines to get to their bus, and the staggered times for when society goes to work and for students go to school are different. This can also fit better with parent schedules. For parents that have to travel a long way to work and still have to send their children to school because they can't find a bus station, it fits better with their schedules, especially those who have to travel a long way to get to their workplaces. In conclusion, through all these valid evidences that have been conducted, schools can either stick with their current schedules and reap the products of profit and productivity, or they can change for the benefit of mental stability. Thank you.
Over 55% of UBC students commute to school daily using public transit. As part of that group, I take a 3-hour round trip every day just to get to school. As soon as I step off the SkyTrain, I'm faced with the dilemma. Do I stand 40 minutes in a crowded bus? Or do I wait for the next one and get a seat? Well, having slept at 3 a.m. the last night, and in having severe sleep deprivation, of course I want to sleep. I want a seat, so I wait for the next bus. With the populations of UBC and Vancouver ever increasing, more and more commuters are being shoved into a limited number of buses. Although the number of riders in the UBC bus routes are increasing, TransLink has done nothing to compensate for this. The need for more effective bus routes and more vehicles is becoming a larger and more pressing issue. The UBC Vancouver area holds the highest number of commuters in Metro Vancouver. As of 2017, the TransLink Service Performance Study reported that 4 out of the top 5 busiest bus routes in all of Metro Vancouver terminate at UBC, including the infamous 99B line. The 99B line is an express bus from Commercial Broadway to UBC and holds the title of champion for the largest amount of riders in all of North America, seeing over 56,000 people every day. Each bus seats 50 people, and there's only 30 people that can stand inside the bus. That makes a total of 80 as maximum capacity. With 56,000 people going through that bus daily, that bus would have to make 700 trips if you do the division correctly. However, the 99B line does not run 700 times a day, so the only solution to this is shoving more than 80 people in a single bus. Usually you have up to 100 people in a crammed bus, and that means no one can get on. The 99B line, although it has 56,000, it only represents a quarter of all the commuters heading to UBC on the UBC bus lines, which totals almost 200,000 people on average daily. A large part of these commuters are the ever-growing UBC student population. The increasing population affects the overcrowding on the bus and gets continually worse every year. The UBC enrollment report of the 2016 to 2017 session shows a 6% increase in the students at UBC, which is an increase of 3,000 people. If you take the 55% ratio, that means an increase of 1,650 commuters over 13 different bus routes. With large bus delays and overcrowding, many people are shying away from public transit and beginning to drive to school. Although it is faster and it is less crowded, it's harmful to our environment and produces more greenhouse gases in the process. A proposed solution to this overflow of commuters is the extension of the Millennium Line to UBC. However, that is not a viable short-term solution. Although it does reduce wait times and it does reduce the traffic on the major avenues, it has a heavy cost and a very long construction time. However, the situation now calls for an urgent and simple solution able to control the overflow of commuters. Every day, thousands and thousands of commuters from all around Metro Vancouver travel to UBC via public transit. TransLink has done nothing to alleviate this pain and needs to adapt to the growing population. More vehicles on routes such as the 43, the 41, the 44, the 84, the 25, the 33 are needed to provide a painless trip to UBC every day. Thank you for listening. Down with the 99, viva la 84.
So our next round focuses on the theme Global Tales. Each student has received a topic in the last 10 minutes and been given that amount of time to organize a speech around it.
Show of hands. Who believes that aliens exist? Come on, participate. Okay, at least one person does. That's good. Some people think aliens exist, while others, like most of us here, think that they don't exist. Personally, I don't feel like they exist, but I'm arguing for the fact that they do exist. So let's scrap that. So from the early 1900s, people have been fascinated with alien life. For example, George Lucas's Star Wars. You have Star Trek. Even before that, in the 1800s, H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, where Martians invade Earth, is a prime example of the fascination of extraterrestrial life in humans. There are also some theories that the Great Pyramids have been built by aliens. However, some people still believe that aliens don't exist. Many people, they side with Brian Greene, a professor from Columbia University. He says that even if aliens do exist, we will never find them, simply because the universe is so large and still continuing to expand. And that rate of expansion is also accelerating by the second. However, despite all that, people are still searching for aliens. People are still searching for possible planets that might contain life in the Goldilocks zone. The Goldilocks zone is a zone where the temperature is just right so that water and life can exist on a planet. Planets such as Darwin IV, the fourth planet from the Darwin system in the Andromeda galaxy. There have been documentaries and books made on this possible life form, these possible life forms on this planet. So, after hearing all that, there's also the SETI Institute in California with the giant probes and the radars still sweeping the skies day and night to find extraterrestrial signals. So after that, who believes in aliens? Come on, more participation. Okay, I got at least one more hand. So that's good. So do you think aliens exist? Or do you think they don't exist? So it's up to you.
To copy from the previous presentation, can I just get a quick show of hands? Who here depends on their devices every day? All of you should be raising your hands, even if you don't have a device. So have you ever found yourself within a restaurant, or maybe you're standing outside school, and you have a device in your hand, but you can't do anything without it? Because why? You don't have Wi-Fi. Some of us are not fortunate enough to be able to have data, or maybe 5G, 3G. I don't know how it works, because I don't have data. When I picked out the topic, I felt personally victimized, because I believe that free Wi-Fi should be available everywhere.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Here, here.
So, for a pretty far off example, say you were stranded on an island, maybe from a shipwreck. Everyone has a phone, but you can't do anything without it, because there's no signal. Well, but think about it. On our planet, we have satellites rotating all around our Earth. How easy would it be to pick up waves from those satellites? Pretty easy, opposed to those shipwreck films that you see where people have to degrade to their primitive ways and build fires, live in caves, and write rocks on the island beaches saying, "Help us." Wouldn't it be as easy as raising up your phone and making sure the satellites pick up your phone signals and calling for help? Now, through all of these, there's also the downside to having Wi-Fi available everywhere, because this means that we are more dependent on our devices. A speech earlier today talked about artificial intelligence. Because of our reliance on them, we can't think for ourselves. We depend on this other mind to think for us. What does this mean for our future generations? Studies have shown that through each generation, we're actually getting more and more dumber through each generation. Now, I don't want that to be the future for our race. So if we decreased our use and dependence on technology, maybe we would be able to think for ourselves more, come up with more theories. Like how in ancient times, the Greeks and the Romans, they were able to triangulate and calculate the stars from nothing more than the sun and shadows. It's pretty impressive. And now we have our phones, Instagram, Snapchats, and we're looking at memes of pictures that have no relevance. Old cartoons that are made fun of. They did surgery on a grape. Something as insignificant as that. We are laughing at it. So if you find yourself in the middle of nowhere and you're stranded, maybe waiting for a bus, there's no Wi-Fi around and you do not have data, maybe look around instead and realize that you don't need to depend on Wi-Fi or data to keep yourself entertained. Thank you.